Hello, this is Aaron from AaronOnAutos.com, and welcome to another Shaky Cam interior review. This time we are in a 2018 Buick Enclave. This is the premium edition of this vehicle. It's in the new white frost tri-coat color. On the exterior, has the 3.6 liter V6 and 9-speed transmission. This is a really good Buick. Buick has really kind of stepped up their game in the last little while, the last maybe half dozen years or so. And this is a good example of how they've done that. Buicks are mostly about the interior. The exteriors are interesting and fun, of course, but the interiors are really where it's at with a premium brand like this. For the non-premium version of this vehicle, you would go to the Chevy Traverse, I believe. So, looking over here, we'll just start with the usual interior looks. Here's doors or windows, mirrors, etc. Seat memory here. Door locks are up here. Over here you have the parking and auto lights and dimmers. So there's that. Then I will point out that this does have a automated park brake, but you can turn it on and off and manually control it. Looking quickly at the steering wheel, then we'll go to the instrument cluster. Change things up a little, right? Haha. Over here you have all of your cruise control stuff. So this does not have what I would call active cruise control, or I don't know, there's a lot of names for it, but basically cruise control that slows you down and speeds you up according to traffic. This makes it look like that's what it has, but all that is the crash mitigation distance. So it changes the distance before it starts applying brakes, but it does not have adaptive cruise control at all. I believe that is an option. You have to upgrade for it to a different package, if I understand it. I'd have to look it up. But this is the 1SN. I think you have to go up to the next level for packaging. So here you have your voice control for the infotainment and so forth, and telematics are down here. You can also use this to answer the phone. So if the phone is ringing through your Bluetooth, you can hit that to answer. Over here you have basic controls for, here's the radio. This controls the driver information screen and infotainment, depending on exactly what you're doing with it. So these right here are controlling the music and output. This over here usually controls infotainment, but you can also use it to control what's showing in that center screen up there. It mostly comes down to what exactly you're doing. So it's hard to explain how it works. You kind of have to fiddle with it to see. But most of the time you're using it to control what's over there. On the steering wheel are paddle shifters hidden back here, in case you really want to have those. Over here is windshield washer, wipers, etc. Over here, lighting. Mostly what this controls are automatic high beams. That's that button right there. And blinkers and so forth. The rest of the lighting, of course, is down there. On the instrument cluster, you have an RPM gauge over there that you may or may not have any use for. In a vehicle like this, I don't know why they bother with those. I don't know when you're going to be using it. Maybe when towing, but even then, I don't know. Over here, where's my finger? Over here is the speedometer. Up here, fuel. Up here, engine heat. You can see I just started it, and in this week, I have I've used 3/4 of a tank of fuel. I've actually used a little more than that. I did squirt some in there during the week. Down here, I have it showing the speedometer. You can change that with that handy button I showed you before. So let's see. I'm pushing the wrong one. There you go. So my trip has been 313 miles. I've averaged 21.4 miles to the gallon at almost 40 miles per hour in average speed. This vehicle is rated at 25 miles to the gallon on the highway, 20 miles to the gallon overall. So I have done a little worse than what the EPA would say, but I would also point out that I have driven at altitudes between 4,000 and 5,400 feet. So this is not a turbocharged engine. So that would mean that it does have a little bit harder time sucking in the enough oxygen to get the kind of fuel economy the EPA might expect. These numbers are about what I would expect to see out of a vehicle like this. They're pretty good numbers given the EPA's. So I usually cut off a couple of points for the EPA because of my altitude. Over here we have some more controls. You can see the push button start, of course. I probably need to turn off the climate. I'm sure it's blowing into the speaker. Up here, traction control, all-wheel drive control. All-wheel drive does turn on automatically if the vehicle feels that it needs it. Otherwise, you toggle it on and off here. Most of the time, you'll want to just leave it off. Better fuel efficiency, etc., etc. I did drive in the snow and some questionable weather this week, so I did have that on, which also is affecting those numbers over there. Down here, trailering control. So when you have a trailer hooked up, that's your trailer button. It turns on trailer sway control and a few other things that are built into this vehicle. Up there's your Duke lights. Over there's your parking. And down there is your lane keeping. This is the infotainment screen. Buick does a really good job with it. I really like their screen. You can see right now it's on showing music, but I'll push the home button there. Here's a few of the things you can see that you can do with this. Like most vehicles, hit the phone button and you can quickly pair a device. Text is off and on, depends on what your device is. This has been hit and miss with my Android phone. That's fairly normal with different vehicles. The only make that I've never had a problem with are any of the Chrysler vehicles using the Uconnect system. And Ford Sync 3 tends to work really well with my phone. Some of the other ones are hit and miss. This one has been like that. But that's the only knock I have against it. Otherwise, everything works really well. I like the navigation in here. I like the OnStar setup. This has had that activated, so I've been able to call the concierge service and have them put the address in the nav for me while I'm driving, so I don't have to do it. Lots of stuff like that. Really cool. Really like how responsive this is. Does very well. Down here you have those basic controls I was showing you before. So this is the volume on and off. These are the skipping tracks. This takes you to that home screen there. And this is a back button over there. You probably can't see it. There you go. Down here, climate controls. This is dual zone. And then you can do a rear climate. So if I hit the climate button up there, maybe not. I'm thinking of a different. Yeah, there it is, rear. I knew there was a rear climate in this. This is a 3-row vehicle, so that's kind of important to have, right? So climate controls are pretty straightforward. Not a lot of things to think about on this. Bun warmers there, coolers there, and so forth. Down here is a nice spot to drop your phone. This is very rubberized, so very hard to move your hand. Beautiful. Put your phone in there. It will not move around. I love that. Over here is your plugs. This is the first of the USB plugs. There are more throughout. Also the aux. So you have 2 USBs and an aux. If you can't quite see that, there is a little bit of glare coming in the side window. This is the, excuse me, this is the shifter. Other than where reverse is located, so you push the button here and you move. So to go into reverse, I push it up and over. Neutral is straight up, which, there you go. And drive is down. Park is a push button. Similar to some European cars, namely BMW on this. Over here, this is the bourgeois cover for the drink holders. Then you have the center console, which opens up. Looks like it doesn't have much. Pop this out. Tons of room in there. And you can see the bottom is an insert you can pull out to clean quickly. Really like this center console. Very nicely done and just well positioned, and it's nice and wide and big. I like it. Over here, you can see this has the, I believe this is leatherette. This is not actual leather. It's vented and so forth. You can see, hopefully, some of the dash and the woodwork. I love the wood that Buick uses. Buick and Cadillac have a fair amount in common, and they tend to use really similar and very good materials. The difference being that Cadillac loves bling factor, Buick likes the simplicity. So you have a lot more Euro going on in here than you would in, say, a Cadillac, which would be kind of the next step up from the Buick brand. Really like the stitching, just the feel of the interior, and the back seats. You see this has 2 pilot seats plus that third row that's folded down. That is a huge cargo space. This also has the dual windows up there, so the dual moonroof, and this is a sunroof. Just a really well done vehicle. I've really enjoyed it. Drives well, feels well, just does its thing and isn't obtrusive about any of it. Very well done transmission, shifts nicely, just a nicely done car. Yeah, that's about all I can say. I don't really have a lot of things to knock about this. I really like this vehicle. Buick did do a very good job. So for AaronOnAutos.com, this has been Aaron talking about the 2018 Buick Enclave. That's all I've got. Talk to you again soon.